Alright, the next one we want to talk about is the pitch shifter, pitch correction and pitch shifter. Let me just record something real quick. Everybody call 911 on the dance floor. Okay. Everybody call 911. So what this does is, this is kind of like auto tune. If you need it for normal purposes, you can use it for that, or you can use it for auto tune. Let me just show you how to do that. You just turn your response all the way down to 0, and then you find which key that you sang it in. So let me see. Looks like it's C sharp. So I change this to major scale, C sharp, and then have a listen. Everybody call 911 on the dance floor. Whoa. So that's your auto tune just right there. You have a very fast response of it correcting the pitch, and you make sure that it's on the right scale. Now, if you're not doing that, you're not using it for that purpose, then you'll just bring this response up, and it really does a pretty good job of helping fix the tuning. You can use, if you know what the major scale is, this wouldn't hurt. All this does is that it turns off the notes that are not in the major scale. So the notes that are not in the major scale will skip to the next note that is in the major scale, and that's what it's used for. You could also do just a chromatic thing, and it will increase the possibilities for any note to be in there. But you just tweak the response, and see what you can come up with. The other thing is just a simple pitch shifter.
Everybody call 911.
That's pretty cool. Then you also have a vocal transformer. This is kind of for, I guess, I don't know, alien sounds, or you wouldn't use it very much in songs, but that's a tool that you can have. And you have reverb. This is one of the most important things. You have some simpler reverbs here. But then you have the best one, I would say, is a Space Designer. Now, Space Designer uses some special technology called IR, and what it does is it records. You have a mic, let's say in a room or in a cave, and they have all these explosions or pops all around it or in the room. They go off, and all the reflections are recorded through the mic, and somehow they're able to record and figure out all the reverberations in that particular room. And they have just an incredible amount of different rooms and spaces that you can have. You have choir halls, you have churches, you have caves, you have canyons, you have closets, bathrooms. You have just an amazing amount of settings that you can use. You also have some spring and plate reverbs. Plate and spring reverbs are just like big boxes that simulate a certain type of sound of reverb. Some of them had plates in them, and they had springs in them, and they gave a certain type of characteristic of reverb. So that's what those are. They're used for vocals and for snare quite often, and sometimes interchangeably. So that's what you can use them for. Right here you have the dryness and the wetness of the reverb, and you can change the timing of it here. You can change the filter going on, the density, the EQ. So this gives you a whole lot of options to use. So that's the Space Designer. It does take quite a bit of memory sometimes, so you can use the busing and auxing technology that we're going to talk here about shortly, so you can save a little bit on the memory. Here you have a denoiser. Denoiser is kind of like a noise gate. You tell it where to detect the volumes below a certain level. You tell it how much you want it to be reduced, and you tell it the noise type. We talked about the noise type a little bit. That's the difference between white noise or pink noise. For example, white noise are frequencies of all the frequencies. Pink noise is a more limited range of frequencies. So you can tell which type. And this, if you have a loud recording where you have all this extraneous stuff going on, you want to get rid of it, you can use these noise gates or denoisers. You also have an exciter that will augment certain frequencies in a certain area with some harmonics. You have a speech enhancer that's very nice, and then you have a simple gain for if you want to increase the volume more than this track will allow you to. Okay, so these are all the effects. Let's take a look at a few more features. Like I said earlier, if you press option click, let's see, let's take a look at this one. Option click will turn these off or bypass them. You could do it in here, you can do it in the mixer, same thing. Also, if you press command and click and drag, you can move these things, and you can even move them between tracks in the mixer. So this can be really handy. Alright, now let's talk about busing. So what busing does is it says this one track, or usually many tracks, are going to go to a special track called an auxiliary track or an aux track, and in that aux track they're going to apply some certain effects, and then it's going to go out to the output 1 and 2 like all the normal tracks do. The reason why you do this is to save space and to kind of simplify some things. So let's say, and there's two ways to do it. This first way is you go to the output. Normally you go to the output, it goes to the output 1 and 2. Now there are multiple outputs. You can have output 3, 4, output 5, 6, output 7, 8. The reason why you have those outputs is sometimes you want to go out to different speakers, different external things after your project is done. But for all purposes, the most basic situation, you don't need to worry about that at all. Output 1 and 2 just goes straight out to the master. So instead of going to output 1 and 2, this track is going to go to bus 1. And bus 1, once you do that, it goes to auxiliary 1. And auxiliary 1's right here, and it's also right here. So when this track has a bus 1, instead of, let me click on this track, instead of showing you the output track on the right here, it will show you the bus auxiliary track that it's sending it to. And then, so take a look at this track, otherwise known as this track. This auxiliary track takes in bus 1, so it takes all the information from this track, and it does whatever you want to it. You put all these effects right here, and then it goes out to 1 and 2. So let's say I want to put in some reverb, this reverb. So this reverb is being applied to this track because all this information is coming to it. Now I could do that, or I can send this one to bus 1 also, and I can send this one to bus 1 also. So all three of these tracks are being sent to bus 1, which has this reverb on it, and they're having this reverb being applied to it. This is nice because I can control all their reverb in one sitting, and also I only use one of these reverbs so that it cuts down on the memory, on the computer usage that I need. Otherwise, I would have to put these reverbs on all three of them, and if I wanted to make a change, I'd have to make it open all three of them and make the change. So this really simplifies things. You can do a chain of auxiliaries, so you go everything to bus 1, then everything out from bus 1 to bus 2, and then from bus 2 to bus 3, bus 4, etc., etc., and then finally to output 1 and 2. I haven't found much reason to do that yet. I just figure that it's pretty simple. All the effects you want for certain ones, you can send to, you can just be on one auxiliary track, or you can have it so that it's For example, this one goes to bus 2, this one goes to output, the normal output. So these two are going to bus 1, this one and this one, and bus 1 puts on the effect and out goes the output. This one is going to bus 2, which is this one, and let's say output 2 is going to have a delay desirer on it. So these two are getting reverb and this one's getting a delay on it. So you can work it that way. The second way to do it is, instead of sending it straight through the output, you can put it back to normal and send it through these sends. So this track is going the normal way through output 1 and 2, but we're sending a portion of this track by decimal level to bus 1 in this case. And it goes up, we can send it to up to 6 decibel levels. I think the thing that's kind of nice about this one is that you can send a different amount of the signal to bus 1 that you want to send it to. So let's put this one back at output 1 and 2, and we'll send it to bus 1 also. But let's say I want to send more of this track signal. I want to get more of that reverb effect than this track is going to get. So that's what I can do. I've also heard though that when you send this, it's also sending the volume information, and so that's why I don't usually use it very much, because I don't. All I want is to have the track have the effects applied to it, and I don't want any extra volumes at the near the end, at the end of the line. But that's what busing is for. So now let us open up one more project that shows some of this.